Hey guys, today I'll show you guys how to make this squishy, super simple and super fast. So let's just get right into the video. And the materials I use to make these are stuffing. You can use either tape, but I'll be using both. This for the edges at the back of the squishy and this to actually tape the whole squishy just because it's a thicker tape and it makes the process faster. But if you were to choose one, I would go with this basic tape from Target or just Scotch tape. Some coloring materials, and specifically alcohol markers or Sharpies would work best. And these are Ohuhu alcohol markers that come with a lot of different colors. So I definitely recommend these if you're looking for a good option. A pair of scissors, and obviously a grocery bag. And this can be any color, but depending on the squishy you want to make, white could be an easier color if you want to color the whole squishy one specific darker or lighter pastel color. So just keep that in mind. TJ Maxx and Marshalls both have white bags if you're curious, and I'll be using a TJ Maxx bag to start, but it really doesn't matter the store. And I'll also be taking my toy stuffing that you need. Depending on how big you want your squishy to be, you'll use more stuffing. But if you just want a smaller size squishy, I would suggest about a handful of stuffing, which is how much I'll be using to make this lemon craft. You're going to make a squishy sort of by doing this, but obviously we'll cut up all this excess and tape it up. That is sort of the idea of making this squishy. So go ahead and place your stuffing inside your grocery bag and take your pair of scissors, and you are going to cut a square. Depending on how much stuffing you're using will determine how big your square is, but for a handful of stuffing, make sure you cut a big enough square, because if it is too small, then you won't be able to cover enough of the stuffing and it won't work out well. And please don't stress about making this a perfect square. So clearly I didn't make any sort of accurate cuts or specific measurements for this, because it really shouldn't matter too much of how much you're cutting. As long as it is enough, then you are good. You always want to cut more than you think you might need, because it's better to have too much than too little. And then you're going to take the amount of stuffing you want and just place it sort of at the center of your piece of grocery bag. With this, you're going to sort of wrap it like you're wrapping a present, but it is really not specific, and there's no special way of wrapping it. You just sort of wrap it to the shape you want, because a lemon is a circle, so of course we're going to aim for a circular shape. And you're going to start off with sort of 4 basic folds, as I just did. All I did was fold the 4 corners inward, which might give you a square shape, but the more tape you add, the more you can shape it to the way you like. So don't worry if you put on the first piece of tape and your squishy looks absolutely whack, because trust me, mine probably will too. And if you see any holes like this pop up, then make sure to secure those, because you want to have no air peeking through, because that will make your squishy less slow rising. But if you don't want your squishy too slow rising or hard, then definitely let some air through, because it will help with the problem of your squishy being not squishy and just sort of hard. Because this squishy in specific was hard to begin with, and you can see it still is a little bit hard, but it made it slow rising after I poked a few holes. So always feel free to design the squishy to your own liking, because you don't want it too squishy, then you can change that. And to get more of a stress ball texture, you can add more tape covering more holes that you see, which will let less air escape. Keep on adding a little bit more tape, little by little, as you go to get your desired shape, because obviously it's not super specific and you'll have to customize it as you go. And check the front to see if it looks like a circle or if it looks like a blob like this does, and so you'll see whatever's poking out, and you can just go ahead, take a small piece of tape and then sort of secure that in the back that you won't see. And just keep doing this until you have your desired shape. And of course, for a lemon slice, we'll want it to be a circle. So just keep doing this around your squishy until it's as circular as you can get it. Once you have a shape you're satisfied with and you think it's circular enough, make sure any holes that aren't shut aren't peeking through, because you don't want your squishy having too much air let out, because then it just won't be squishy. And I think if it's a little bit slow rising, then that makes the squishy a little bit nicer and just funner to play with. And then you should have sort of your base squishy. You can already tell that you can feel it, the texture, and how it'll turn out. And now that you have this, you can go ahead and take your coloring materials and get ready to color your design with all the gorgeous colors. As I said in the beginning, alcohol markers are best for this craft, but if you don't have them, just be sure to be very careful about not touching the actual design you're coloring in, because you don't want a smeared design, and this often happens when you accidentally touch the actual design. Even with alcohol markers, be careful to touch the design as little as possible. Also, feel free to make this design your own, and you do not have to do the exact same thing as I'm doing, of course. Once you've finished your design, go ahead and cover it in some clear tape. And now your squishy is pretty much done, but to add a little touch, I'm going to add a little leaf. But here are some squishes, cause why not? And next I added a simple little green leaf just as a little addition for some more color. And I also ended up adding some glitter into this leaf. This step is optional, but to spice up your squishy, I'm going to be adding some glitter to the leaf. And you could do the same for the lemon if you just put some yellow glitter underneath the lemon on wherever you wanted it, and then you tape it up so you'd seal it all together, and you'd have a sparkly squishy if that's what you want to do instead, but I'll only be doing so for the leaf. And to make the cutting process a little bit easier, I just got rid of all of the excess glitter that I didn't want on my actual leaf that I poured out off to the side, so it'd be easier to cut. And then I'm just going to tap in however I want the glitter to be formatted and finalize that right before I add my tape. And then I'll add my tape, secure it all, and make sure it is nice and locked in by sort of going around the edges of the whole leaf design. And with this, you should have a sparkly, gorgeous leaf. I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. After I have cut the leaf, there is a gap between the tape and the actual paper. So any gaps, I'll just be going ahead with some more tape, adding that to the edge, and then just sealing that into the actual paper by just folding over these little strips of paper that I made by just cutting slits into a bigger strip of tape. And finally, I'm going to attach this leaf by just taping it onto the actual squishy, and I'm going to be putting it sort of on this edge, just following the rounded edge of the leaf with the edge of the lemon slice. You don't want to get poked, so make sure you cover up the tip of the leaf too. And once you've done that, your finished product is complete, and you should have a squishy that looks something like this. Super fun to play with, and definitely a fun toy to make if you're just bored in the summertime, have nothing to do, and just want to create something. And if you found this helpful and want more tutorials like this, then make sure to check out more videos on my channel and leave some recommendations below of what you want me to see make next and what you want a tutorial on. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye!